So at the time, because you're in an interesting spot where the space race is also huge, and you're working on what, I don't know if you know at the time, but how adjacent, I guess, like working on like a jet is to maybe like, is there aspirations to like maybe try to get on board with what NASA's got going on?
Oh, of course there is, and that's the cream of the crop, if you will. I mean, those people that are around that, there's some, we call them nerds or whatever, but there's some brains in there. I mean, them guys are, they know what's going on. And yeah, the ultimate dream in the service, especially when you're around the aircraft a lot, is to be, how do we get into that, It's kind of like serving with the Thunderbirds or something like that. How do you get into that? Well, you got to, when I say on top of your game, you got to be on top of everything on it. And first off, you have to be a career person, because if you're just in there for the tour, no, they're not going to take you, because they put too much money and training on you to have you 4 years later and you're out. Oh, now we got to do it again. They want career people in it, and I can understand that. I mean, it's the time people, they call you a lifer or whatever on the thing, but now you look back and you think, wow, look at what all they got invested, and they become dependent on you, and now then, okay, your time's up next winter. And it's like, now you become a short timer and out you go.
Yeah.
Well, come on. Some of these, those guys have been there 20, 25, 30 years, and then they retire. But in that, they're serving their part in there. And some of this stuff, we have some pretty complicated machinery in the service industry. And, well, when it's developed out here in the private sector and it goes into the military, well, who's going to work on it? Them people are not coming to work on it, because they're not soldiers. They're not coming. They're going to train the people over here, us, to work on these things. Well, when you have the privilege of some of this stuff to work on, you think, well, this is leading edge stuff, yeah. And then, of course, you have to have the security clearance to do that, because some of those things you get into, now you're fire pickings for another country. Hey, want to do this or this, or, give us a secret to that? No.
Yeah.
So, it's a never-ending mission to keep people trained for these things. And even after 30 or 40 years you're in it, and you go out, it leaves a big hole, if you've not got somebody trained up to come into that position. But then that's a universal thing, because all countries are that way. But still, we have here, I say here in this country, some of the things that we develop are quite incredible. Most of them are good. Some are used wrong, but
they're all tools.
It's tools, yeah.
Tools can be used in different ways.
Yep.
The U.S., I always say the U.S. military is like a hammer, and everything looks like a nail. If all you have is a hammer, that's kind of the dangerous part of it.
That's the danger. Boom.
Yeah, this is the only tool I have. It's a hammer.
And we're getting in. You guys look like nails to me. Boom. Okay.
Yeah.
No, that's a good analogy. I like that. And we have the military that we have is we're extremely well trained, and by comparison, say to others, people might say, well, this has a better military, this or that other thing. Well, if you listen to the other countries speak about us and the military here, well, think about this. Why do so many people want to come here? Why don't you want to go somewhere else? This is the ideal place to go to, right here.
Yeah.
And, what would you risk your life to go to another country just to get in? I don't care if they shoot me, I'll still get in there. I don't know. Would you? No, I don't know other countries. I would try to break into their border to get in there. I like it right here. And it just sounds like I'm doing a commercial for the USA or anything, but to think about it, when people risk their lives to get to come to here, there's a reason they're doing that.
Yeah, and they risk their lives to leave somewhere often.
Yeah,
as
exactly,
well,
exactly.
Which
is
even crazier, because you're risking your life to leave and get somewhere.
Yeah, right.
And to even double down on coming here, but it's also right now, which is interesting too, because maybe in the 60s wasn't good for everyone.
Yeah.
Now is very open to everyone, and it's very interesting where it's a here and now, this time period. Because
yes, this time period right now.
I'd like to be a student of history as best as I can, and there's been some time periods that weren't quite as forgiving, I would say.
Yes. We have our country is full of people that had to get away from oppression, stuff like that, and that's what's made us what we are, and I understand that, and still that core is still here in the country. Has a lot of conflicting stuff around it. I understand that too, but if you think about what we have, and you have to run a comparison on it, and a comparison on yourself, and say, okay, and look at my daily life. If I took everything out, could I handle it? I don't know. You got to ask yourself that, and not just on a day, not just for one day. Could I just take it out permanently? Well, no. Well, okay, that's why we fight for what we fight for. Mm-hmm. It's like if everything's going to be taken away from you, and I'm giving you 24-hour notice on the thing, so everything's going to be taken away from you. Cars, house, boats, airplanes, whatever on the thing. And your grocery stores, and then what? They're all being shut down. Wow. What would you do? Because you get to think, let me think about this. And that's what a lot of people around the world, and I've been to a lot of these countries on it, that's the thought they wake up with. What do we do today? You're going to give your whole day that day just to make enough money to buy something at a local store or whatever on the thing to feed your family for that day. And tomorrow, you're starting off with an empty cupboard once again. You know, our cupboards we go to, oh, no, I don't know what to fix today. This or this or this. Or maybe we'll just go out to eat. Go in the refrigerator and like, oh, my, Well, I'm not picking on America because I love it. Absolutely. I'd give my life for it in a heartbeat. But we've got to be just a little more appreciative of what we have, which is we got it all, boys. When we say we got it all, we got it all. And think about it. Some of the stuff that we have, the privileges we have, oh, my. Let's go racing. Let's go here. Let's go there. Let's go take a vacation. Let's do. And you can do that. It's like, and by the way, let's stop at the restaurant and get something to eat. And you got the money to do that. Oh my!
I know it's endless. It's endless because I grew up with my grandpa who lived through the Depression.
Okay.
And it wasn't endless for him, and he lived his life showing that he grew up like that. You know, like he was very frugal, and he didn't really have like a lot of things. Now everybody has so many things.
Yes.
There's so much consumerism of just like junk. Yeah. And I'm guilty of it too. I mean, this whole room is just filled with junk. That's just like, I don't need most of it.
I mean, to think about it, we think back on these things, and you know, my parents went through the Depression, and money was not around because the money went to the war effort, and the aftermath of World War I, and then it was just when I said depression, it was depressing. Oh, big time. I didn't go through it, but they did. And you had ration cards and stuff. You know, you didn't have, and you could trade your ration cards for this. You had them for sugar, you had them for coffee, you had them for this, even had them for shoes and that sort of thing. Well, then it was advantageous to be in the country because a lot of stuff you could make of your own that you didn't have. But being in the city was pretty tough. And, you know, you had rations for cigarettes, you had all of that. And a lot of people in the country just switched stuff around. Well, my parents had bees on their farm. Well, you got extra ration for raising of bees because some of that honey went to the military when it was, you know, a lot of the honey went to the military for stuff like that.
Oh, wow.
And there was, when you look back on those, and like I say, you're a history buff, but you look back in that Depression era and some of the things that they done to survive, and people were tough. I mean, they were tough, you know, because you didn't have nothing. I mean, you had nothing on the thing.
It really brought people probably together in ways that we are so distant now.
Yeah.
Like completely. Neighborhoods actually had to know each other to survive. Now,
I mean, you had communities. They weren't towns; they were communities, and they even spilled over into the 50s and 60s. That I got to see communities were so close, and sometimes when we'd be setting out tobacco, like you raise your plant, and you had it in this big bed. Well, you took those up at a certain time, and you get ready to plant. Well, the community would get together. Okay, we're going to work here this day, planting so and so's crop, and tomorrow we'll be over there, and tomorrow over there. You know, and it's the way it was. I mean, nobody said, "Okay, what I owe you?" What? I couldn't pay you if you asked me. So you worked in this crop, worked over here, worked these people, worked here, and then like in hay harvest and stuff like that, well, we're all putting up hay over here, putting up hay over there, and then tobacco cutting time, well, we was helping these people doing this, but then it just started slowly going away. People became ones, and it's like, okay.
Well, you look like the Amish kind of still live like that.
Yes.
They all help each other out.
Yeah.
There's videos of them like moving barns, and there's like 40 of them, 50 of them all moving a barn, and it's like, wow.
And
Good luck getting 50 people together to help you with something. I don't know where you'd
fist
find
fight
that.
breaks out or something. But those guys are, I mean, they have the work ethic. I mean, they know what to do. It's kind of like that. They're good at what they do. I mean, they're very good at what they do. It's you watch them and you think, man, they put up that whole barn, they put up this and this on a thing, or moved this or done that. It's like, dang, how'd they do that? Well, it's still that community of, and then we look at them people and we think, man, they're so backward. But are they? You think about it, are they?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Kind of just pre-industrial revolution living out there.
Exactly, that's good.
Guys, thank you for tuning in to the Bogetti Clips YouTube channel. For the full podcast, check us out on Bogetti Studios YouTube and all your audio platforms. Also, hit that subscribe button to not miss out on any of the new Bogetti clips coming up.